want the funk.
We want the funk.
2 in a row. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Winners Lounge. Hawk noises, tigers, lasers, all of that stuff. Nuggets get the win over the New York Knicks. A beatdown. And then, this extended second half they just had to kind of get through.
We'll just call it a beatdown.
Yeah, we'll just call it a beatdown. 132 to 150. It really was a beatdown, man. 83 points in the first half. That was insane.
That's the most points that any NBA team has scored in a half this season.
That's incredible. Nuggets on fire in the first half. Kind of skate through to the second half, but there's no shortage of great things to talk about, including the Denver Nuggets bench, who was incredible. And I got the homies here. I got Superstar Dev.
I mean, what a good game for the second unit and just guys that really needed a pickup game. In those type of situations, the Knicks are coming on the second night of a back-to-back, so you need your second unit to take off, and that's what the Nuggets did. So really good game from them.
I also got Bryn Vogt here.
Yeah, rare sight to see the Nuggets roll, and Jokic never really gets too involved. I mean, that's an exaggeration. He was still Jokic, but he wasn't at his best, and yet the Nuggets were tonight.
I kind of think this was a bad Jokic game in a lot of ways. I mean, he did go, as to your point, 21, 11, and 7, 8 of 14 from the field. So, I mean, even his bad nights are good. He did have the 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
But how weird is this, guys? +1 for Jokic? +1, I mean, it's not a negative, so it's there. But a +1 in a game you absolutely dominate. But like I said, that's not because of a bad thing, but because of a good thing. The Denver Nuggets bench was fantastic. Is this a Swan song for JMyke Green? In the pregame, we talked about, and we've seen the reports. He's available. Nuggets maybe willing to part with him to move on from him. He comes out tonight and absolutely has a fantastic game. Maybe his best game of the entire season, going 2 of 2 from the three-point line. He had 20 points on 6 of 7 shooting. So 7 shots, 20 points. That's pretty impressive. Dev, what did you see out of JMyke tonight?
First off, it was just a perfect situation for JMyke. It was a New York City brawl type of game that he's used to. But also, if you are looking for an actual trade, for the Nuggets front office, it couldn't have been more perfect of a situation. He does not have to play over 20 minutes. So when you pitch into teams, you can say, hey, we didn't showcase him. He played really well, and he got to play. He scored the basketball, knocked down his three-pointers, got to the rim, very aggressive and physical, and matched that type of physicality that the New York Knicks was not afraid to have. So that was unarguably his best game of the year.
And he's found success, guys, blitzing pick and rolls, and he's stripping these ball handlers. 2 more steals tonight.
That's forced more than that. He personally got 2, but he forced some.
And that's been a calling card of his these last 3-4 appearances. So, JMyke Green was a good player last year, and I think a victim of the construction of this second unit as much as anything, and still probably the right guy to trade out. But this would be one hell of a way to pump your value up before the deadline. Happy to see him play well.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. When you talked about maybe the configuration, obviously we've talked a lot about that and maybe why he got off to a slow start, playing out of position, this or that. But he also just missed shots.
That too. I mean, he wasn't very good.
A lot of wide open pick and pops, and it got frustrating because it's all Denver could do. But tonight he looked good. And here's actually my biggest takeaway personally when I was watching this game. That second unit tonight, Austin Rivers is out with a hip injury. Davon Reed goes in for him. I kind of sneaky loved the way that second unit fit together tonight. Now, huge caveat that this was a bad Knicks team that's reeling, and on the second night of a back-to-back, the guys they were going up with, not necessarily a great second unit for the Knicks. But you know what? Throw all that aside. They just looked like what was it, a 25-5 run or something they went on at that stretch? Bones Hyland, we're going to talk a lot about him running the point, and Bryn Forbes. That's a lot of spacing from your backcourt. Davon Reed, some length. Then you got JMyke Green and Zeke Nnaji. I really loved how that unit played together tonight. And I don't know that we've seen that unit a whole lot, to be honest, with Davon Reed there.
And go ahead, please.
I was going to say, just especially when guys are knocking down shots. Bones wants to push the pace every single time, and he's going to be a downhill type of player that just he controls the tempo for both teams. But he's also kicking it out to guys that are knocking down three-point shots. And when they get that rolling with him, as confident as his shot has been as of late, it's going to be hard to slow them down. And they had, with that unit, you have guys that don't really create, so everybody knows their role. Bones has the ball in his hands. He's creating for other guys. Everyone else is knocking down shots, and it just becomes hard for a team, especially the New York Knicks, that really don't have the guys to keep up that type of pace on the second half of back-to-back. So everything did just work out well for that second unit.
And that's with Zeke Nnaji going 0 for 4 from 3 and Davon Reed going 0 for 4 from 3. So I know the other guys did shot well, but you can also expect those two to shoot better. So, I mean, I like it. I have written and said before, I think Rivers has been good this year, and it is still also true that it probably makes sense to put Reed in there.
Or at least situationally.
Situationally, yeah.
Yeah, at least situationally. But here's what I'll say. So I just looked it up. We actually haven't seen that combo of 5 players tonight. And I know there were staggered lineups and everything else, but those 5 guys we haven't seen. And when I just think about what kind of lineups, at least offensively, make sense, that one to me, it's like, okay, you've got enough spacing, you've got enough length, you've got shooting on from your interior players. So I kind of like it. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't get to see it a little bit sooner. But again, it's a lineup that the trade deadline is in 36 hours. I don't know if we'll ever see it again because there's a chance some of these guys get traded. But if not, if the Nuggets do continue through, further on, if Austin Rivers is out 3 or 4 games, I'm kind of excited to see that configuration play more minutes. DeMarcus Cousins isn't with the team in the next game. I'm excited to see that against a couple different types. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't win 27, plus 27 or whatever. But the guy who I think is going to be our DraftKings Sportsbook King of the game, and the guy who was the most encouraging today, really it was the 2 young players, but we're going to start with Bones Hyland tonight. He goes 6 of 12 from the field, including 4 of 7 from the 3-point line, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a game-high plus 27. I thought he was fantastic for large stretches of this game, from almost most of the game that he was out there. And not just fantastic as in on 2 fronts. He did a good job of doing the important point guardy things, get everybody into their sets. But then he was also dynamic. He did the hot sauce stuff. I mean, he dropped Alec Burks. He had some big time plays where you're like, man, that guy is so talented. This was a great game from Bones.
Think about the fact that it's a rookie that really brought that energy, and he plays in a way that it feels like he's been in the league for a long time. He's the one that, especially on a quiet team like the Nuggets, he's the one that gets them going.
Yeah.
And they really look for him to be that electric player, and for him to set the tone the way that he did. Not only did he lead the Nuggets with the plus-minus, but he also led them in scoring. As a rookie, you just don't see those type of things. So, when he gets going and he's firing on all cylinders, it's so hard to, slow him down as far as just staying in front of him. But also he can shoot the 3-ball, which now makes it even more difficult to defend him. And then he has unlimited range. So really, if you're a guard that's on Bones Island, you have no chance against them.
Right.
And then he's now starting to understand the game and see it slow down, where he's able to make the extra pass, where he's able to break them down and go finish or dump it off. So I'm glad that he's just learning on the fly, and he's starting to see a little bit more things. There's still things that he has to tweak, but he looks good right now.
He's such a vibe merchant too. He really rides the highs, and he dropped, was it Burks or Kemba? I can't remember. Kemba, right? Hits that 3 and points. And I always think of this clip where Jamal pulls Bones aside, come to the sideline way earlier in the season, and he says, talk yourself into the game. Talk yourself into the game. We need you. And I do think Bones is that just on a roll kind of confidence guy. Yeah. And once he starts feeling himself, he's feeling himself. And we saw that really snowball tonight.
What do you think of him pointing? Let's be honest, man. It's a little.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much, but it's also awesome.
Man, I loved it.
I'm who he is.
I'm not gonna lie. That's a good celebration. He fell down to the ground and he just pointed. He pointed at the ground, so it wasn't at him direct. So and then he runs back, and you already know how he gets himself going.
Direct. He pointed in the vicinity of him laying on the floor.
Oh, that's dope. Really, we know what type of player. The Kemba step back. Everybody remembers that play, and that was trifling. It really was. So, for it to go back to Bones, I love that. Right back in Kemba's face.
You ever pointed at somebody? You ever crossed anybody up and pointed at them?
Not like that. That's why I really liked it, and especially for it to be a 3-pointer. After he just made him fall and stuff like that. The whole play was together. That was good. I wasn't that type of player.
Anybody ever point at you?
No, I hope I would never. I really hope I never end up in that type of situation. Everybody's been crossed, but not that.
He might have given a little bit of a.
Very different. First, 9 out of 10 ankle breakers, you pushed or you stepped on someone's foot.
Sure,
come on. It's like the Chris Paul to Steph Curry one.
True.
Just trips him, broke his ankles.
Oh, it's like Michael Jordan's one of his most iconic shots is just him shoving the hell
out of his head. Yep.
So, but hey, man.
No, hey, listen, it's dope. And you know what? I was gonna say. I don't know. I'm not like a point guy, but
Yeah.
you know what? The Nuggets have been labeled as soft or whatever. And
Right.
You got Trey shushing them in their own building, so it's cool to see a guy play with a little funk and edge to him.
Trey shushes everyone, though. Trey plays like with this. I think when you're small or skinny or undersized
Let
in
me
any capacity.
stop you right there.
You
Yes.
just got to bark.
That's correct.
He's got to bark. He's got to talk a lot of trash. You got to love it. He was just for real good tonight. And I want to talk about Zeke Nnaji as well. 11 points, 7 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds for Zeke. The second stint was a little bit more, mixed, but that first stint, the numbers disguise how good he was. I honestly think the first half was his best stint. He was one stint, but it might have been the best he's played as a Nugget. Defending the perimeter, I put this out on Twitter, and I said I think he might be the number 1 best perimeter defender on the whole team. And I saw people say, like Davon Reed or Facu or Aaron Gordon. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The point is, Zeke Nnaji right there in terms of how well he just moves his feet out there.
Definitely.
That the fact that you could even include him in the conversation with guard. When you have a big who can guard on the perimeter, it's impressive if they can just do it in a pinch. You got switched on an island. Zeke, I kind of feel like when they kept trying to switch off Bryn Forbes and get Zeke, run the pick and roll to get him on. It's what are you doing?
Attack
Bryn Forbes. Zeke Nnaji, you can't get around him. He had his defense in that first half, I thought, was incredible.
And he continues to just add pieces to his game. He's starting to become really a lot more aggressive. The tenacious Zeke really has been coming on, where he's not shying away from guys that he once was, or stepping back on everything and getting everything blocked. He's really to the rim and trying to make things happen. In that regard, you can see that he's getting stronger, but also he's earning minutes both ways.
Right.
He didn't knock down shots, but he still played well enough to be on the floor and to make an impact in the game. And that's what Malone wants. That's what he needs, is a guy that's going to be aggressive in that energy, especially on a night like tonight where they didn't really have a backup center option.
Right.
So you put him in for those small minutes. You also have him in help side a lot of the times, and I think that's where he's going to be best at. But he just continues to add pieces to his game, and he's putting together a really good stint where he's going to be in the rotation.
Right.
And then offensively, he's 0 for 4 from 3. But on that side of the ball, arguably his best game as a big. Just the rebounding presence, the presence around the rim, the stuff we don't typically associate with him, at least to date. And that was definitely defined his first half. He was aggressive. He was tenacious. It's a bit, but it applies tonight. And Zeke's been playing well for a minute now. This is looking like another good find from Tim and co.
And this is the thing about tonight's game. When you play teams like the Knicks, who are on a second night of a back-to-back, winning, okay, you're supposed to win.
Yeah, of course.
The line was big.
Course.
You were supposed to win. But can you get moments like this? This is why this game is so encouraging and why there's funky music and everything else is those guys need time. They need minutes. And tonight, you want Jokic to provide those. Hey, a team like this, blow the doors off. They didn't do that. Tonight, Zeke and Bones earned just extra minutes because of how great they were. And to me, that was what's so encouraging is you watch Zeke and you watch Bones. I think both of them have improved in important areas from the start of the season, especially Zeke. To me, as I look at Zeke, I don't know if you guys are here where I am. I look at Zeke and I think, I feel pretty confident about him in a playoff series, and I feel pretty confident about him long-term as a piece on Denver because he does 2 things that Denver really needs, shoot and defend the perimeter.
And that's something that I did not see at the beginning of the season, and that's why I feel like he really has been one of the best improvements, because I wouldn't even imagine him in a playoff series because I just didn't think he was ready. He didn't have the time on the court where you could trust in him.
And we were coming off of the worst summer league performance we've ever seen, in the history
of
the summer league.
There was no guessing
as it
how
could
bad
be.
he was. I'm there's no he's got to be out of here. They're going to get rid of him very soon. But they stuck with him, and now things have worked out where he's getting more minutes and he's making the most of those opportunities. So I am in that camp of thinking he really can give you some valuable minutes. And also, if you put him out there, he's not going to get exposed, and he's actually going to help in a lot of the ways because you're going to need defenders in the playoffs. And I feel like he is that, and he can knock down a shot, and that goes a long way. But you could throw him out there for a few minutes that you really are going to need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in on this, and he's a Jokic player too. I really like the idea of him in a playoff rotation, shooter rotating in around Jokic. It's fun. I think he's solidified himself. Good on him.
Yeah. I'm just so high on both of those guys. And, Bones obviously is much more up and down, it's uneven. Zeke is just so solid, but he also doesn't have the peaks that a Bones Hyland has. But the season is so much to me. When we look at what would qualify as success for this season, of course, like winning a championship is the ultimate team success. But short of that, I do think developing those guys and really knowing where they fit in, not just to are they good and like you can count on them, but where do they fit in? Is Zeke a Jokic guy? Is he a bench guy? Is Bones a Jokic guy? Like where do these pieces meet? And tonight, I just felt like you got a good sort of sense of that, a good hold of that. Bryn Forbes tonight, I don't really have too many notes on Bryn Forbes. He knocked down 2 3-pointers, and they were big. He helped, obviously, space the floor. He had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Do we have any Bryn Forbes notes?
Like late in the game, there was like a part that he was doing extra passes and whatnot. And they got blamed on Barton. But it was actually like Forbes that should have took those shots, especially because he had things going. And he is knocking down those shots. But you could see like him having to like think about it. You can see him like starting like he doesn't really feel like he fits yet, so he's still trying to prove himself. So I think at times he doesn't want to be too selfish, but they're like, hey, let it fly, let it air out. So that was like a game from Forbes. I feel like especially against the Knicks and they were up big, get yourself going, get yourself in a flow where they're going to like trust in you and they're going to want you to take those shots because later in the season they're going to need you to be in those type of situations. So not the overpassing from Forbes. If you have an open shot, I want him to shoot it.
Do you guys feel like you've learned anything new about Bryn Forbes? Nope. I kind of feel like I know exactly
who
what
he
the
is.
situation is here. Shooter. All right, check. Move on.
But you know what? Tonight, it's funny. I kind of like that he played 15 minutes and only got 6 shots up. I know that sounds a little crazy because 6 and 15 minutes actually kind of a lot. But that just shows you sort of the flow and the rhythm that the bench had. And a lot of that was good defense leading to fast breaks, so you weren't just like, he wasn't just running off screens, this or that. What about just overarching, before we take our first break, overarching about that second unit? I mean, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but is there weaknesses you see with that second unit that make you, or do you feel like, hey, that's a group that kind of makes sense there?
Consistency. I just really want to see that because I really do feel like they have the pieces that you need for a second unit. They have their ball handler who, they really want to build around and can score in different ways. They have their defenders. They have their bigs. They have, everything. They just have to keep putting it together. Not
very
just
switchy
one
lineup.
Yeah, like not just one game. And then also against those good teams or like better second units, can they like do those same type of things? Can they bring it to those type of teams in the same way? Because we have not been seeing that. So I want them to just put a few games together where we could say, hey, this is like a group that you could believe in. Because right now it's up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I have a ton of doubts about the 5-man unit. Consistency is definitely the key word, right? Since the Facu switch, we've seen some ups and downs, and they're all on or they're all off. But I am starting to feel better about what a shortened rotation looks like in the playoffs with a couple pieces coming back, and you're only handpicking some of these guys to rotate in, right? And you're not trying to configure 5-man lineups. And a part of me is starting to feel like, okay, there's 2 or 3 guys there that I feel good about. Bones is going to be a bit of a roller coaster, but I think we all know that, and I think we're all down for the ride, so fun tonight.
I would say for me, paint pressure is still big. Like Bones did a good job of that. They also just got out in transition today a lot with that second unit, so it negated it. I do worry there's not a lot of teams that have a big off the bench, that can play like that, but that group I don't think can handle that. And then perimeter defense, like Bones and Bryn Forbes weren't murdered tonight, but I do worry. Like
definitely,
that's like, okay, there could be a team that could really take advantage of that. Why don't we take our break? On the other side, we're going to talk about the starters, including Jokic's night, which is kind of a weird game from Jokic. Weird energy, and it reminded me that I think this happens every year with Jokic right before the All-Star break. I think Jokic is definitely one of those guys when Malone said we're all sick of each other. I think Jokic is sick of everyone right now. That was my read on tonight's game, but we'll talk about it on the other side.
Cool. Forgot I was doing the reads. So
every time. Cool. Unbelievable.
And then I thought, you know what? It's always the same read to start.
We always would laugh. Like, you remember, like, Michael Beasley, he forgot his undershirt or this or that. Vote every day. Every single day.
Every single one.
Rips off the button downs, no pants.
Well, listen. Our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I finally started taking my Athletic Greens home, so now I can use them every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because I just didn't have the time to really build a healthier diet. I wanted better gut health. I wanted more energy. But it was hard. But I got it done. I got it done with Athletic Greens. And
because it's got like it's like a probiotic, you know, like you like.
I can't find the read. Yeah.
Are you being serious? What's going on here?
I can't find it. Bail me out. Bail me out.
Bail you out with what?
The read. I can't find it.
What is the ad partner?
Athletic Greens. I'll put it in after the show, Kel. How about that? We'll move on to DraftKings. Wow. Good Lord, guys. Listen, the Super Bowl is coming up, and you can get skin in the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. There's also a bunch of dope specials. We will read those to you right now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, DraftKings is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer, you can experience Super Bowl 56 with Super Bowl 56 props instead. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you win. DraftKings, safe, secure, reliable. Best of all, deposit with all your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code DNVR and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code DNVR, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, aka the DNBA show, Nuggets postgame show. So the bench was incredible. The starters, not so much. And I'm being serious about this. Do you guys vaguely remember this? Jokic before the All-Star break just being a little more irritable. Like tonight, look, Taj Gibson is incredible vet. He just realizes if you foul every play, the first 3 plays, the officials are like, all right, it's a physical game tonight. Taj Gibson had 12 fouls tonight. He had 12 fouls. They only got called for 6 in 27 minutes, but he could have fouled out in like 6 minutes tonight. And I feel like, one, it got under Jokic's skin. Like, he always gets annoyed by that. But also, I just feel like Jokic, he wasn't about it tonight. He saw the bench took over, and he's like, sweet, I get the night off.
Yeah, he was a bit quick-tempered in the game, too, because he is starting to get like just pummeled against those type of guys. And also, I think what makes him a little bit more frustrated when it comes to like a Taj Gibson is he's like, who the hell is this that's beating up on me the entire time? Like, usually
he
there's
knows
like
Taj Gibson.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a respect factor. Like, this
okay.
guy is as good as me. I'm going to try to go after him. He knew that he had the advantage on Taj Gibson every single time, and he didn't want to just attack it. I really do think that he's he's at the point of getting up for games, and that was a game he looked second night of a back-to-back for them, not a good center. He wasn't going to go up for them. I say if they had Mitchell Robinson, he would have tried to go at him, of course, because they have that history, but also it's just a better center. So, like,
I feel like he loves going against Mitchell Robinson, though.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's like his favorite opponent.
But if he feels like he has like an advantage, I don't think that he really goes at him the same way, because it's just not a mental edge where he can get other people going. I think he's such a good, team. Like, he has a barometer on the team, and he knows exactly what to like do with the squad. That he's like, hey, this is a game that we should win. Get other people involved, so maybe we could steer this in a different direction. So I think this is a game that he understood the situation and just coasted.
I think that Jokic remembers that game very well.
Game 82.
Game 82.
Yeah.
Because
I think he does too.
Taj Gibson was the first. That was actually the first time where we saw tier 1 scorer Jokic.
It really was. People don't remember this,
third
man.
quarter, right? 16 points or something.
17, I think, but yeah.
He was just like that Clippers game. Like, he had that look on his face. And we hadn't really seen that yet to date.
We saw it in little pockets
spurts.
here, but that was like pressured game. Who's going to step up? Who's got it? And some guys didn't on the Nuggets, but Jokic did. He had it that game. That was the first time you're like, man, this guy.
Best player on the floor by a mile. And then Taj Gibson shut him down. And by that, I mean he was the first guy to learn you're allowed to just foul the shit out of him as much as you want. And I think Jokic remembers that. I really do. And
you might be right about that.
I mean, it was one play in tonight when he stopped to say he has the 2 hands.
Yeah.
He's got 2 hands on my back.
That was actually hilarious. I love that play.
Was hilarious.
It was really early in the game. You're right. Because
really early.
How did he not get a tech for that? Because that wasn't a like, hey, ref, he's pushing me. He's like, oh, come on. Like, he was like mocking the official.
Definitely. Dude.
Actually, an all-timer for Jokic.
It seemed like he was it seemed like he was on his way towards an ejection, but look, all's well that ends well. It would have been great to see him maybe in a clear headspace tonight. But if anyone has earned an off night, it's Jokic. So no harm, no foul in the end.
No harm, no foul, indeed. Do you have any other Jokic thoughts about tonight? I mean, do you expect there's 3 more games before the All-Star break? Do you kind of expect this from Jokic? I mean, again, Jokic's bag nights are 21, 11, and 7 on 8 of 14 shooting. Like, it was not a bad game. But do you expect sort of perturbed Jokic? Or do you think, hey, maybe he dominates against the Celtics?
I think he'll dominate against the Celtics. Like, okay. I think he gets up for, like, really, I think that it depends on the matchup.
Not a challenge for him tonight.
Yeah, not a challenge. And he also understood that, like, the Knicks don't roll over, but there was no way they could hang with them the entire time. Against Boston, I think he looks at that like this is like a really good team. I'm gonna have to come out, and he's gonna have to play better. So I think that he is gonna bounce back. And I mean, look at he still had a good game. Right. What does the bounce back even look like? Just a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
And you might be right about the overlook factor, which, he wouldn't state explicitly himself, but is he now 13-1 against the Knicks in his career, or 12-1?
I don't know.
I think it was something crazy like that going into tonight, so maybe it just wasn't a wake up the bear kind of night. But
he's like, the Knicks always suck no matter who they have.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
We've never seen them good.
I'm in love with Aaron Gordon. I really am, man. I can't love this guy any more than I already do. I can't believe there was somebody that I'm not going to say any names or name any websites, or stations perhaps, but there was somebody today who wrote a piece talking about how Jeremy Grant was better than Aaron Gordon, this or that. Aaron Gordon is such a perfect fit. And somebody said overpaid, Aaron Gordon has been so good, man. And tonight, I do feel like he's getting better. I also feel like when he's healthy, every game is a banger. Tonight he had 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 of 12 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. I am up to the point with Aaron Gordon where on his catch and shoot corner threes and on some of those on the wing when everything's in rhythm, I'm kind of that's in. I've turned the corner on it where I actually kind of count on him as a floor spacer now, in addition to all the other things I just love that he does, including passing. Come on, where were you guys at? Are you guys with me on this?
How could you not be? Someone tweeted at us at DNVR Nuggets tonight that after Jokic, with this group, AG's the next guy they trust. And
I think that's fair.
It's easy. I mean, he's been really, really good, and also specifically in the ways that you would hope he would be good in Denver. And that's really the part of this that just feels like such a home run. Just the focus on being shot ready, knowing Jokic is going to find him, not a career shooter, turning himself into one here. The work in transition, the pick and roll. I sound like the ball don't stop guy right now. The connector passes, that passing shit, that comes real easy to a true hooper like this. That's a reference. But no, AG's just been awesome. He's just been so good, and he is such a perfect complementary piece alongside Jokic. Can't imagine how good it's going to look when those guys come back.
I'm glad that you said he's a perfect complementary piece. He understands that.
Yes.
He does not want to be more than what he is. He really does enjoy winning. He enjoys being in this situation where he can showcase what he is, and it's going to be good enough. And I think that's what's wild, where you try to peg him against a Jeremy Grant or someone like that. He doesn't care about all that.
Right.
At no point has he ever even made a comment about they want me to come in and be Jeremy Grant. He doesn't care about that.
Right.
He comes in, he does his job every single night, and I think that we're starting to see him open up even a bit more. I think that it's intentional for him to sit in the 3-point spot, because it just takes that guy away from the rim and it lets Jokic go. And he's now starting to knock down the 3-point shot, which I think that makes him happy, because he's I've always wanted to shoot the ball, and now I'm in a situation I can shoot the ball. I'm not only an athletic guy. So it's great when he dunks. It's also great when he shoots it now, and he's starting to look confident. But I think that he's a perfect player alongside Jokic, and it's going to be there for years, which I'm excited about.
I'm just so excited to see him with Michael Porter again. All these little actions you run, I just have a feeling defenses are going to have their heads spinning, trying to not switch things and this or that. And Gordon, I mean, this is the biggest silver lining of the season. I mean this. The biggest silver lining is that you basically got 2 years worth of experience between Jokic and AG already in half of a season, or a little bit more than half of a season, because there's nothing else. You got to go to it a lot. So I feel like as you add these other pieces in, the chemistry there, it's not going to be wasted. It's not now that goes away. It's that now punishes everybody else to make the 2-man game with Jokic and Murray easier. When they traded for him, I liked the move. Whatever. I had no idea it was going to work out this well.
Plus, right now, the Nuggets are simple to guard, and maybe one of the few things you're concerned with is the AG Yoke stuff, and how much more complicated does that all get once you reintroduce those pieces? And I do think there will be an adjustment period of, we can't just double in front and bracket Yoke right now. Like, we can't just do that. It's Porter and Gordon on the floor at the same time. How do we match up with that? So it's Jokic and Gordon looking as good as they have is such a silver lining that in a sense it almost trumps all the other stuff we've had to just trudge through. Because if they do get back to full strength, you're going to have a lot of confidence in those 5, as you should.
It's kind of funny, too. Like, in a weird way, I'm more certain that Gordon is a part of the, like, successful future of this team than I am maybe Michael Porter. And Michael Porter is, like, a better player. You know, he scores certainly at a higher level and raises the team ceiling. But, like, Murray, Jokic, Gordon, I'm like, yep, that's for sure 3 guys that belong in a... The other 2 is that Michael Porter, I hope so, because I love watching him play. I love when he catches fire, but we just haven't seen enough to be as confident as I am that AG is a perfect Jokic player. Will Barton was really good tonight, guys. 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from the three-point line. His three-pointers becoming money. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, but he made so many great passes. I mean, the assists were like Harlem Globetrotter stuff tonight. Yeah, he had the crazy one, like... It's not even a behind. What do you call it, Dev? It was behind the back, but also over the head at the same time.
I don't even know if there's a name for that. And also, like, he's the only guy that's going to even try a play like that for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, that was wild for him to even try it. But, like, it just goes to show he's going to be himself every single time, like the good and the bad. And this was a really good game from him. And he didn't have to overstep and do it. He went 8 of 12, like, from the field. So he still got his shots up, but he was, like, consistent, like he was efficient. He also like passed the ball, so you can't say that he's overdoing it or anything like that. And also they even staggered him and let him play with that second unit and got him going in different ways. So like if this is the Will Barton you could get where he's just being this like consistent and just like doing everything, a bit of everything, that's what you need from him. Like this was like a high haters type of game from Will Barton.
Yeah, and Barton, I believe he's averaging 4.2 or around 4 assists per game this year. So 5 assists tonight, but being that much in playmaker mode, not as much as an outlier as it sometimes is stated. I feel like this is close to his season average, but his approach was clear tonight. From the first quarter, he was trying to be that guy setting his teammates up. And it was just a great game. And 3 starters had a really bad game tonight. So the plus minus is pretty rough for the starters, but I thought AG and Barton were damn near flawless tonight.
Yeah.
And particularly with each other, right? Just the passing was great. The decision-making was great. Really, really good game from Barton, who had a better homestand than the way we talked about him after the Pelicans game, you know, sort of lingers or whatever taste that leaves in the mouth. You know, I would kind of stop myself from going this hard about it in the pregame show. I do not need to trade Will Barton.
Right.
I watched the starting 5 last year. They were really effing good. They all fit really well together.
Starters this year, plus 15.4 net.
So that's 2 different starting lineups they've built where Will Barton's a part of, where they look like world beaters. And the problem's the bench right now. So, I mean, I'll go, yeah, man, F it. I personally, like, I get why it was on the table because of where they were at with assets this year, but I'm over it. You don't need to trade Will Barton. You can win with Will Barton, and I hope they do.
Absolutely, man. Jeff Green, Monte Morris, I thought pretty unremarkable from both of them tonight. I don't really have a lot of notes. What I will say, Jeff Green, a slew of bad games a little bit over here. He probably could use the All-Star break. Also tonight, only 18 minutes, which was interesting. By the way, Will Barton, 37 minutes for a game that's a blowout. That's a little bit of bad time management from Michael Malone, but what can you do? Do you guys have any JMyke Green or Jeff Green or Monte Morris thoughts?
With Jeff Green, really, I just like it has been a lot of games in a row. Like, not like he's not like atrocious or unplayable. He's just kind of out there. Just
he's not doing anything special for you, like a ball. If it's a 50-50 rebound, not getting it. Like all that. Yeah,
like he's never gonna be like. He's smart enough to like coast, like just really be there.
He's coasting.
Where he's not gonna like give up on plays. So like he's gonna like play hard and he's gonna like hard foul. He's gonna do everything that you need him to do. But he's also not playing well.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how to feel about that. Also, you don't want to put him in the second unit playing like that because like if he's just going to be like a net zero, then like keep him with the starters because they get it, and also you know what to expect from him. Like guys know when he gets if they pass the ball to him, they're going to get it right back, and I think they enjoy that. And he's going to set a hard screen, and they could play off of that. As far as Monte Morris, I was a little bit shocked that he wasn't as aggressive today as he has been, especially like with the guard play from the Knicks. Not like a horrible game because he still takes care of the ball. He didn't have any turnovers in the game, and he had 6 assists. But also, I thought he would be a little bit more aggressive scoring the ball. But I think this was a game where he also, just like Jokic, understood other guys had it going. I'm not gonna just overdo it. Let's try to get someone else going.
Why don't we hit our final break here? On the other side, I know Harrison Wynn's almost done wrapping it up. We delayed the show a little bit. Let us know what you guys think of it. I think it's going to work. It's going to make the show 1 hour, which is much better. But yeah, let's hit a break. On the other side, we'll hit our super chats. We'll hear from Harrison Wynn, bounce around the association.
Okay, we got another new read, but I'm ready. I found this one. Ready for the most absolutely rhetorical question of all time. Have you not been able to watch the Nuggets and Avalanche games?
Man, you are all over the place with these ad reads.
What? This is the one we're at.
Okay, I got you. I see
Ivanka TV is a totally new paradigm for TD delivery that is less expensive, more efficient, and offers a superior picture than legacy providers. Service includes local networks like Altitude Sports and other national channels. Did you guys hear that part? Altitude Sports is on Ivanka TV. How do you sign up? You can go to ivanka.tv/DNVR. Hey, that's us. ivanka.tv/DNVR. Only $25 per month.
That's right.
No contracts, no hidden fees. Prices locked in for 2 years.
This is the future, by the way.
This is the future.
This is the future. Like, we've all been talking about the dispute between cable and you know, the different channels or whatever. This is the way around it, man. By the way, COO of the company, baller from Colorado College. We went to school together.
No kidding.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was a dope baller.
That's awesome. So hey, listen, if you just pulling your hair out, not sure what else to do, what else to try to watch your nugs and your abs, how about Ivanka TV? Ivanka.tv/DNVR.
Give us the reviews too. I want to see people that do this. $25 to get to watch the Nuggets. Come on.
Hey, if you went to our Broncos tailgates this season, then you certainly tried or at least smelled or at least heard about that delicious, sexy pizza, because we had it in abundance. They were catering for us all tailgate season long, and they did a great job. If you're not sure what sexy pizza is, well, it's Denver, baby. It's local. 13 years in the community. They've got hand-tossed deck oven pizza with made-from-scratch dough each morning. Plus, try their signature philanthro pies, one of those signature pies, and the profits will go to select nonprofits in Colorado, so you can eat good and do good at the same time. To order online and get 2 16-inch pizzas for $29.99, go to www.sexy.pizza and use this promo code, Sexy Super Bowl. I hope you guys can remember that. Sexy Super Bowl. This offer is only available Saturday and Sunday of Super Bowl weekend, so make sure to get in on this while you can. Additional toppings and vegan cheese can be added for an extra charge. Sexy Pizza, check them out. I never want to do another ad read again. I hated that.
All right, final segment here, Kale. Let's hit some super chats while we wait for Harrison. Michael says, super chat! Hell yeah. Big time one, Michael.
Yeah,
we
Michael.
appreciate that. That one's a banger. David Ross says, is Jamal Murray real? It's becoming like when Dad left and you can't be sure he was real except for the dusty photo of him and Mom in the mantle. David, worth the second super chat. Can I tell you guys something? I totally get this, man. I totally feel this. Like, honest, this is what happens when players get hurt. It's like, hey, man, you're going to come back and whatever. And then it's just like 9-10 months go by and you're kind of like, dude, I don't even remember what that was like.
I know.
I do feel that way, man.
It was
sad.
awesome.
It was. I do remember that. I remember it being
pretty
cool.
Sick.
Is that it? Nobody else had more riff
cool.
on that? All right, here we go. Francisco says, when Jamal comes back, you think the starters going to have to adjust to him or him to the team? I'm thinking in AG's top season and two-man game with Yoke.
It's an interesting question.
I don't think it's that interesting. He's going to be himself, like, really, and they're going to be excited to just have a ball handler that can also knock down the three ball at a high rate. He probably is going to be a really good shooter still. Yeah. Like, I really think that just because of how Monte has played, it's not going to be like a huge difference as far as like dribble handoffs and things like that. But also, it's still Jamal Murray, and they've been getting good guard play as well. So I don't think that he's going to have to adapt. I think they're going to like make it work around him.
Yeah, I actually think there will be. I do think Jamal Murray's going to have to adapt. I just don't think he's going to be very quick. And to do all of the things that you need to do, he needs to be quick. You know, Denver still runs the two-man game with Monte, so I don't know that they have developed this other like style. But I do think that there's going to be an adjustment period to Jamal not being able to do all the things that you kind of expect a point guard to be able to do in that two-man game.
Or that he wants to do even, right?
And you might even see, to be honest, I know this is crazy. This might sound a little crazy. You might see a lot of Monte Murray minutes. And Monte's playing in the off-ball role. Like, because that might be easier for him to get adjusted to game speed. So, look, man, we saw it with Klay Thompson. We see it with any time a player comes back from injury, there's an adjustment period.
Yeah.
What else we got? Jeremy says 333 for number 3. Busy Bones is the truth. Thanks, Tim. Yes, thanks, Tim. Dude, Busy Bones is such a Tim pick. In that he's awesome, and that he's like, of course, Tim saw it.
I just want to thank Tim for consistently bringing good players to Denver, because I've heard an awful lot about what it used to be like here. Didn't seem like there were a lot of good players coming through,
man.
And Tim is just finding them one after another. This is awesome, man. This is awesome.
Love Bones. What else we got? Shonic says, "Hi guys, do you have any news about trades?" We did a show in the pregame show. If you guys don't know, those pregame shows aren't just talking about the game. They're about 50-50. Some talking about the game, some talking about other topics, almost like a mini podcast. We did discuss, so if you want to hear the latest as of today about the trades, you can go ahead and watch that one. But I'll also let you know on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time, we're going to be going live. That's 30 minutes before the trade deadline, final buzzer. We're going to be going live. Probably something will have happened by then, and we'll be reacting to it. We'll probably also do a show tomorrow just talking about the latest rumors and trades and everything that's happening. So we will have no shortage of trades content for you guys in podcast form, as well as some written stuff behind the paywall.
Tight.
Should we bounce around the association real quick, Kale?
How is this possible?
I think Harrison is pretty close here. So what do we have? You already have around the association up?
No, I was just thinking, how is it possible that Wynn's not ready?
I know, it's crazy. The Trailblazers got blown out by the Magic. This new look Trailblazers is the saddest team of all time. My God. And I kind of love it.
It is depressing.
I kind of like it.
Well,
I would not mind the Blazers being the Sacramento Kings for the next 10 years. And hopefully they retain Nurkic through it all. That would be great. The Mavericks beat the hell out of the Pistons. Man, I hate when there's dumb game. There's another dumb game. The Pelicans beat up on the Rockets. Rockets, Pistons, Magic.
Yeah, cool.
There was a lot of blowouts tonight. It was not a good, fun night. It was just a lot of blowouts everywhere.
Boston got out to a 28-2 lead over Brooklyn.
How'd your boy do?
Well in Brooklyn. I hear he played well, so I'm not super stoked on it. I'll check,
he was only 7 of 11, but
what do you guys
32.
Honest question, what do you think is going to happen with Brooklyn? Are they going to be? They're still. Here's the crazy thing. They are title favorites right now on DraftKings Sportsbook.
I have zero confidence that group wins a title together.
They are actually, that second unit is horrible. It is a lot of guys not playing right now in their main core, but also that second unit you really don't believe in. And how are people not talking about that type of losing streak? It doesn't matter that their guys aren't playing. How are you title favorites and you're on a 9-game losing streak? It should be talked about more. Apply pressure.
I mean, none of their stars are playing, but that's also the point, right? They're not playing for reasons that are all KD, an older player coming off an injury history. He has an injury. Harden, a guy who's quit on his teams before, looks like he's quitting.
So here's a take. This is a hot take, and it's a bit of an old man take, but Shaq went in on Ben Simmons the other day. I don't know if you guys saw it on TNT, and it was, obviously Ben Simmons deserves it, but he talks about, Magic and Larry made it so that we all could make money doing this. Before that, it wasn't guaranteed you were going to make a lot of money. Michael took it to a whole other level. He made it so we all made more money. He said, I came in, I made it so we all made more money. When you are willing to throw away $33 million as Ben Simmons is this year, basically saying, you could find me, I'll lose my paycheck because the money doesn't matter to me. Okay, Prince, there's reasons maybe you want to do that. I look at the Brooklyn Nets team and I kind of feel the same way. When you devalue the regular season this much, I understand rest. I understand taking a day out. It sucks. It makes the product worse, but I understand it. But the Nets, and really this has been a staple of a lot of the Kyries, the KDs, of just making it, not even hiding the fact that you don't value the regular season. And now you have a Brooklyn team that's lost, 9 in a row. They're still title favorites. How do you sell that to advertisers? How do you sell that to television that hey, we're going to play 82 games a year. The players are going to make sure everybody knows they don't think it matters. But we want top dollar for this. at some point, I do feel all players should feel a responsibility for the league. If you're benefiting, if you're making $500 million because of the road all these guys have paved, you sort of owe it to hand the next generation that same thing that you benefited from. And so to me, I never like the idea of resting players like egregiously. I do think there's moments where you can find it in the season, but a complete disregard for the regular season to me. I kind of feel like that's what Brooklyn. When I saw today that they were title favorites, I'm like, they've lost 9 in a row. Does nobody care? But I mean, everybody knows it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's the guys that they have too. Like they're like, not to say arrogant, but like KD will like tell you he doesn't really care about those type of things. Like he's very honest about those things. Kyrie is Kyrie.
KD's going to make $1 billion when it's all said and done. He's been one of the best investors in terms of athletes turned investor. He's going to make $1 billion. He's going to be a billionaire when it's all said and done.
So it really doesn't matter to them. That's
but again, it should. It's not matter as in like you. It matters as in what are you handing down. This is my whole point about it. And by the way, I feel the same way in the abstract about LeBron. I feel like a lot of like LeBron's things have been like, is this good for the league though? Like I know it makes sense for you, but is this like a thing that are you leaving the league in a place that's actually better, or are you kind of making it a little shittier?
The messing up the money point was really interesting, especially with regards to Simmons. We don't have to go down that whole hole, but I hadn't heard that point before. And the sort of responsibility to the past and future players of the game. Like, hey, this money, people think it's too much. It's not an accident that we got here.
Right,
you know?
that's the thing.
So it's a really
people had to
point.
fight. If you actually go through the history, people had to fight for this, for equal pay. You know, like Oscar Robertson famously did not do the All-Star game. They protested the All-Star game for free agency and for wages. Like, there is a chain here of things that happen, and it gets taken for granted, and I just think it's a big deal. But we don't have to keep talking about it. The Grizzlies are the best team in the NBA. They won 135-109. Second best team in the NBA. I can't believe how good they are, but they are this good. We just have to accept it. We'll find out. As Matt Moore, my partner in Lockdown, likes to point out, they are horrible in half-court offense. It just doesn't matter because they get out in transition so well. But maybe in the playoffs that won't matter. The Hawks continue to roll. They get 133-112 over the Indiana Pacers. Trae Young, 34 points, 11 assists. He's fun again. I'm glad.
Yeah, Hawks were down horrendous.
They're back.
And those vibes took a sharp turn upward, so I guess that's cool.
Torrey Craig got the start tonight. He was a minus 28 in 29 minutes. And then did my guy Bogdanovich? He did. Off the bench, 21 points. 21 minutes, 13 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds in what I'm hoping is his last game as a Hawk. Bring me Bogdanovich.
How many assists did he have, that playmaker?
2. Oh, yeah. Wait, because you're Team Barton here.
No, I'm just saying.
You're just pointing out. You're just saying. I'm just saying.
Trip down memory lane.
The 76ers lose to the Phoenix Suns tonight.
Which is awesome because you're not catching the Suns
That's
out
true.
west. And you know what? Yoke versus MVP to MVP race. I do care. And it's going to come down to a team record maybe.
Well, Embiid had 34 and 12.
But he lost.
But he did lose, so whatever. The Suns, man, just an absolute juggernaut. And then the Lakers right now getting beat down by the Milwaukee Bucks. Absolutely destroyed. Their season is over. It's glorious to watch. All right, we got Harrison Wind live from Ball Arena.
Just shoving in dirt.
Let's bring him in. Harrison, you're looking dapper.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So tell us, man, how was this game being at Ball Arena? This was a pretty fun one to watch from here.
I mean, the first quarter was a definite shootout at the OK Corral. Nobody could miss. Knicks were on fire. But then, the Knicks showed us who they really are. A really bad offensive team on the toughest back-to-back in the NBA.
Man, they made so many threes. Like, Denver's defense in that first quarter wasn't great, but the Knicks were also 7 of 12 from 3, and it was just like everybody was getting Randall was getting
Taj
shots.
Gibson was getting in.
By the way, Julius Randle, my all-time he's down there. He's on my least favorite players list. Very high on it.
All about stats.
I can't believe that dude fooled me last year because I actually ate crow and I didn't need to. Why did I eat crow? Because I've always hated him. He had one good year and I'm like, well, I guess I was wrong. I just needed to be patient. No,
you did need to be patient, but
exactly the other way. Anyway, sorry, that's a tangent, Harrison.
Oh, please. Any Knicks slander, I'm always here for. You know that.
There's a lot of Knicks fans at Ball Arena tonight, were there not?
Yeah, there were. At one point, there was an Obi Toppin chant getting started. That ended pretty quickly. But Yeah, there was a bunch of Knicks fans,
Man,
like
so
there usually are.
all these Knicks people moved to all these New York people. Crime's up. I don't know if you guys saw that. Crime's way up in Denver. I'm not saying
Whoa.
they're correlated. I'm just saying there's a lot of Knicks people here. They come in here, they chant for Obi Toppin, and they break into people's houses. It's crazy. What else we got?
Okay. Easy, man. That's my homeland.
I hate that. I hate that. All right, get us to Malone.
So Malone called this truly a team win. He said the bench came into the game in the first quarter and really ignited us, really built us a lead. Like you were just talking about, the starters, everybody was scoring, and shots were just going in. It was a close game until the bench really came in and got some separation. He was talking about Bones, and I thought this was a great quote from Malone. He said, with a young player, there's always going to be highs and lows. Those are expected, and we welcome it. That's part of the maturation and development. And he shouted out Bones is, 20-something tonight? But he also had 6 rebounds, and Malone was like, he's not afraid to get in there, and he really liked his rebounding tonight too.
Nice.
And he was talking about, JMyke, man, talk about a showcase game ahead of the trade deadline.
Wow.
If there's a team that's thinking about JMyke Green, he looked incredible tonight.
I love the idea of a team about to trade for a guy, but it's like, hold on. I want to see him one last time. Let's see what happens. We know we have 11 years of JMyke, but let me see this last game.
Yeah. Malone said his knee's been bothering him a little bit, but he called him the head of the snake of the bench unit, especially defensively. He said that unit kind of goes how JMyke goes. If JMyke's playing well, that unit's going to play really well.
That explains a lot.
Okay.
He also shouted out Zeke. He loved how Zeke was attacking the glass tonight. The offensive rebounds that Zeke had, how he was banging inside. He really feels like he's making a leap in that area. And he also said it was really cool to beat the Knicks. He says it's always cool to beat the Knicks, his hometown. So Malone really enjoyed the win tonight for sure.
All right, like it. Nice. What else?
We also spoke with JMyke Green tonight. We got JMyke and Bones. And, JMyke shouted out the defense. He said that's where it started tonight. And he said that bench unit's really just growing more comfortable. We know what we're capable of, and, we're getting more comfortable together. And he shouted out Zeke, who he said just, looks way more comfortable now than he did at the beginning of the season. He's been in Bones' ear a lot. JMyke says he has. Bones kind of called him a big brother.
Wow.
And it seems like JMyke's been a guy that's been, just giving Bones a lot of advice, just always in his ear constantly during games, on and off the court. He told Bones tonight that he's been doing a great job running his team. He's been impressed with how he's been point guarding as of late. So, those two have been, close.
This is the thing about a guy like JMyke that obviously we're not privy to, especially in the COVID era, but, you do hear those things a lot. Yoke loves him. Then you hear Big Brother, there are those aspects to JMyke Green and what he brings to the table. So should he be moved, I think they might be lacking. Yeah.
Right. No, and JMyke talked about that tonight. He said, look, I'm a glue guy. He always plays hard, plays with energy. But then the locker room, I'm a guy who's going to speak up, talk with guys, take guys aside, stuff like that. So, he definitely has value to this team for some of the stuff he does off the court as well. And this was funny. I asked JMyke how he's approaching the trade deadline, and he said, I'm not really paying that much attention to it. I still get paid on the 1st and the 15th.
Hell yeah.
That's his mentality.
All right.
He did say he of course, wants to be here and see this thing through. And see what this team can do when everybody's fully healthy, because we obviously haven't really seen that. Said he's just controlling what he can control.
Okay, good stuff.
And then we talked to Bones as well. And, of course, the big storyline with Bones over the last couple of weeks is him playing backup point guard. He said tonight, I had no idea about this, against Milwaukee, he wrote the plays down on his wrist on a piece of tape that was attached to his wrist. Huh. He wrote 7 to 8 plays on his wrist in Sharpie, he said, because he's transitioning into this new position. There's been some talk that he's had trouble remembering the plays in the past, but that was, I thought, an interesting insight into just kind of him.
That's wild.
To the point guard position.
Dude, we laughed over that Popeye Jones comment. To me, that is the single biggest explanation for why it took so long to move
no
Bones
question
to
about
point
it.
guard.
No question about it.
It was real.
Yeah.
That anecdote definitely
we laughed, but we
confirms
cringed
it.
too.
Yeah,
we laughed and
he definitely didn't know the playbook then.
It's also funny, like, what does it mean to write the play down? Like, literally just the name? Like, he remembers the play but can never remember the name?
I think just the name, because, I mean, how much more can you really write on your wrist?
A whole diagram of the play? You're like, hold on.
Yeah.
5
No,
goes
because
over
I
here.
asked him, like, did you, like, type this up on a computer and print it out? He's like, no, I just wrote it in Sharpie. So it must just be the name of the play.
Huh.
This is incredible. I don't know what to think of it, but it's incredible. You ever written on Sharpie like a basketball play?
No, what?
I
Doesn't
did
even make sense.
It doesn't actually make
I
sense.
did that
It's
during a
actually
test
great.
once, but
Yeah, during
I took
a
some more
test.
detailed notes on my arm.
It actually doesn't make sense. Where you're like, oh yeah, we're in motion.
Well, anyways, I don't think he's doing that anymore. I think that was just for that one game. He said he feels so much more comfortable now with the plays and that position and running that unit out there. I thought this was interesting. Bones was asked, if anybody has been reaching out to him because, of course, he's always online. He's always on social media.
Yeah.
He was pissed off he didn't make the Rising Stars game. He was asked if anybody, vets in the league or whatnot have reached out to him. He says he talks to Isaiah Thomas almost every day, and also Sue Bird. He talks to a lot about playing the point guard position.
Huh. That's
Bird.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
Would not
that's
have picked that one out.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. And then he was talking about JMyke as well. He said he thinks JMyke is the core of the team. I don't know if he really meant like core as in how we think of core, like Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, but the core is in like the way he plays when he's banging inside, when he's grabbing contested rebounds. It makes you want to play even harder.
Yeah, he's the heartbeat of the team for sure. I think that's right.
The heartbeat. Heartbeat. He said when he's locked in, we're all locked in. And finally, he was asked about putting Kemba Walker on the hardwood tonight and hitting that three and pointing at him. And he just said the guys in the locker room were like congratulating him and stuff. And this is something interesting about Bones. When he posts on Twitter, he says he never sees the replies. He says he posts and then he just logs off.
Survey
And
says
does what it does.
that was a lie. Maybe.
And he said that he's not going to look on Twitter to see what the reaction was to that play. I don't know if I believe him.
There's
But
no
that's what he
way. There's no way.
Yeah, he has text messages and everything.
Searching, doing Google searches.
It's also going to favorite every single one of them.
That's so true. Good for
That's
Bones,
just
though.
what he said.
Good for Bones.
Lying is pretty tight, though. I do.
Lying is so
I
tight.
do like lying.
What about you, Win? Do you have any thoughts about this game or just kind of overarching perspectives?
I don't know if I have, many other thoughts. The bench was great. Bones was electrifying tonight. 4-7 from 3. Every single 3 he made, it felt like a big 3. When you're watching a Bones game live, every 3 he makes feels momentum changing. He's playing to the crowd, of course. He's celebrating every made shot that he has. He's incredibly fun to watch. So it's a treat to watch him live. That's for sure.
Crowd definitely loving him, man. He definitely gives some energy. Then that's the thing that, as he gets older, will the novelty wear off? I'm not so sure. I think this is who he is. Some guys are just energy guys. Like J.R. Smith was this way. The crowd loved it. His threes were worth a little bit more.
Yeah. The other thing, back-to-back really nice games from Will Barton, I think. 21, 6-4 against Brooklyn the other night, and 27-5 tonight. I thought he was really, really good. 4-6 from 3. He was big tonight, I thought. Like, tonight is the type of game where you're like, okay, this is why Will Barton can be so freaking valuable for this team.
Right.
Yep.
And by the way, 4 threes tonight. I think he's now 10 or 11 shy of the all-time record. So he's really getting close to that. It's going to happen maybe before the All-Star break, maybe shortly after there, should he not be moved. So kind of a cool milestone. I mean, it's not too often you see a guy take over the #1 spot on like a major leaderboard, major ranking. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, a guy taking over the #1 spot who was a god-awful shooter coming out of college.
That's right.
And now he's about to lead the Nuggets in their franchise history of threes made.
It's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Well, Harrison, good stuff, man. Thanks so much. Get home safe from the arena, and we'll see you tomorrow. And that does it, guys. I don't know if we have any final thoughts before we get out.
My final thought is, did you guys see Giannis' stat line tonight?
What was it?
He 44 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 17 of 20 from the field.
Going up against
Anthony Davis.
The Lakers.
Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I know there was one highlight where he just like backs LeBron down, it's a little spinning turnaround. Meaningful, man. I'm telling you, this really is Giannis's league. He's the champ.
Oh, I love it. Ever since
He's
he
the
did
champ.
that thing against LeBron, I'm all in.
What I love about Giannis is, sometimes you do need to send a message. Like he put 50 points up in the finals last year, and people still like try to go back and forth. Like, I like when a guy is like, no, guys, I'm the champ. That's the thing that matters the most.
Yeah.
You guys are all just trying to come get my crown, which is true right now. It's weird to think, man. We're in different days.
Jokic is going to get there.
That's right.
He will be there.
Oh, I can't wait for it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget, trade coverage coming up here.
Bing bong.
We'll see you then.